Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Farming Simulator 22 Let's Play series here on Haut Beyleron. At the end of the last episode, I just basically came to the store and leased a whole fresh bunch of equipment. We got rid of two of the tractors, the little cultivator, the little seeder that we started, the map gave us when we started. We've instead decided to lease this lovely Massey Ferguson tractor. And we've also leased a bunch of other equipment which we're going to need to get our fields re-prepped, re-prepared, ready for our next planting, for our first real planting, because obviously the crop that we harvested yesterday, we had nothing to do with that. That was already growing on the map when we started here on the map, so we've not had any influence or impact on that. I want to pick up that weight quickly for my Massey Ferguson. Switch my beacon off. Now I'm back on the farm. Right, I'm going to quickly, or as quickly as this machine will allow, go around and pick up all of the pick up all of the straw. That we got from harvesting the wheat in the first episode of the series. I say last episode, it's the only episode that we've had so far. So we're going to get the straw picked up. We're going to put it in the handy little hayloft at the moment that we've got at the farm. For some reason that's decided against picking up all of the straw. Why is it not picking up all of the straw, Alan? Does it get blocked if I go too fast? Or does it just really need me to be absolutely dead middle in that collector? I think that's probably more the case. So yes, we're using this loading wagon to collect the loose straw. You could have baled it, we could have baled it. But again, that then requires more equipment, because then once we've baled the straw, we need obviously equipment that can handle those bales, pick them up, transport them. And again, getting all that equipment right off the bat here on day one is just not economically viable. As you saw, we only started with 100 grand in the bank. We've had to basically rent all this equipment that I've just got, and literally the second I don't have a use for the equipment, I will be returning it. So we're not paying a daily fee for equipment that's sat around doing nothing. It might have been different if we'd, if we'd started the game in Farm Manager mode, where you're given basically 1.5 million in your starting fund, but that 1.5 million has to buy you land as well as equipment. It might be different. I don't think a lot of the land prices are terribly expensive. as such. I know when we started the Elm Creek map in multiplayer last night, we was able to buy six fields, and still have quite a lot of money left over from the 1.5 million starting fee, the starting funds. But again, even in the multiplayer, we did a lot of leasing. Because there's just not a lot of money to be made right at the start of the game. When you don't have crops in fields. You don't have crops in the ground. And like I say, as I mentioned in the last episode, it's going to be 10 months in game before you can harvest your next crop that you plant. Even if you turn the seasonal cycles off, there is no way to re-establish the old, the old growth speed settings like you had in Farming Simulator 19. There's no such options in the game anymore. So all the crops have a fixed growing time. It doesn't matter what game speed you play on. Doesn't matter how many days you have assigned to a month. Crops take 10 months between planting. Between planting and harvesting, it's 10 months. That's it. So I know I've seen quite a few people posting on the forums, not only Giants forums but Steam forums, complaining that they're increasing the game speed, but their crops aren't growing, and that's the reason why. Because there is no growth speed in Farming Simulator 22. It's literally, you look at the calendar in the top left corner of the screen. Mine says August currently. If I was to plant a crop today, then it would be September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. In June, we would be able to harvest. Okay? That's it. I know in previous farm sim games it was very easy with the growth, because you had control over the growth speed of crops and that. You could set the growth speed to fast, and you would literally be able to plant a crop, grow the crop, and harvest it in the same day. Okay, in the same day, because because in Farming Simulator 19 the time between growth cycles was basically a crop would change a growth cycle, would advance a growth cycle every 6 in-game hours. So obviously in a 24-hour day, a crop would go through 4 growth cycles. Seeing as most crops had 3 growing stages, and then went into their 4th stage was ready for harvest, you could literally plant a crop and harvest it in the same game day if you had it on fast growth speed. You can't do that in Farming Simulator 22. Like I say, you have to physically advance the game 10 months. Right, let's go and drop our straw into our lovely... we want to put it in here. I believe this is where it gets sucked up into the old machine, the old hayloft, straw loft. Quite a handy little building this, because straw, grass, hay can be stored in it. At present, again, people who are curious to know, none of the in-game silos, which are the building over there next to the silage bunker, none of the in-game silos are multi-fruit. Okay? And if you don't know what the expression multi-fruit means, typically in the game, crops are grouped by categories. Okay? Or fruits, the fruits, the stuff that you can plant and harvest and stuff on a map are grouped by categories. At the moment, all the silos in game are basically designed and set up to only accept normal crops, cereal crops, and your cereals like your wheats, barleys, oats, and then your things like your canola, sunflowers, corn, and soybeans. Those are the only items you can currently load into a silo. Okay, a default vanilla in-game silo. Typically what will happen is when modders start releasing mods for the game, there will be people that bring out silo mods which are multi-fruit, which basically means you can load absolutely anything in game that you can put in a trailer. So all of a sudden things like potatoes, sugar beets, sugar cane, manure, TMR, grass, hay, silage, you know, basically any bulk material that you can transport via a trailer, you will be able to store it in a silo. Hence the term multi-fruit silo or multi-fill silo. We don't have any of those at the minute, so our farm silo over there, the big sort of grey silver building, will only accept crops. So for us to be able to store this straw, we need to use the hayloft, and the hayloft in game accepts straw, grass and hay, and will hold loose straw, grass and hay. Won't hold bales. You can't use it to store bales. So hence why I decided to go down the road and getting myself a loading wagon, or a forage wagon as they're now termed in game. Last year they were called loading wagons. They are now referred to as forage wagons. Different change in terminology, but same functionality. Lets you pick up any loose material that you get from harvesting, mowing, tedding, windrowing. Basically, it lets you pick up windrows, any windrowable material, silage, and then lets you transport it. There's some little blobs of straw that aren't picking up, and they're confusing me a little bit because I keep trying to pick them up, and I'm driving over them repeatedly and they're not being sucked up. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Yeah, we'll get the loading wagoning done. Again, it feels very weird playing this in vanilla, having obviously played Farming Simulator 19 for so long with mods, and there's a lot of handy little mods for top jobs like this. Two of the ones that obviously I more commonly used throughout my Farming Simulator 19 lifetime and series would have been either the Follow Me mod, which would basically enable me to have an AI worker drive this tractor and follow the harvester. So whilst the harvester was harvesting, I could have the loading wagon being driven by an AI who would just basically follow the exact route that the harvester took. And he would collect straw up until the point he got full, and then I would have to remember to jump in to the tractor, take over, take the trailer away, go and empty it, come back to the field, and then basically start him off in follow me mode again, or do the same with a baler. Balers would probably be more beneficial in follow me, because balers don't get full, because obviously they just keep chucking the balers out the back, especially square balers. Square balers probably the better, because they're just constantly collecting, hoovering. So yeah, typically I would use follow me with a baler behind a harvester, and then if I was using a loading wagon like this, I would use course play, and basically I would create a course with the harvester. The harvester would run a harvesting course to harvest the field. I would then save that course and load it into the loading wagon. So basically the tractor and the forage wagon would follow the exact same course that the harvester took, so it could collect all the straw that the harvester chucked down. And then I could also then add in, join that and link that to a secondary course, whereby the tractor and trailer could go off to a silo or storage point or sell point or whatever when the forage wagon got full and empty. And so it would quite happily drive up and down picking up the straw until it got full. Then it would go off to the unloading point. It would unload, it would come back to the field, and it would pick up loading where it left off. Very useful little mods. Obviously right now at the moment in Farming Simulator 22, with the game only having been out 24 hours, we don't have mods like that yet. So we kind of have to do everything the vanilla way, the longhand way. So I'm having to drive this myself. In-game workers, although they can do things like harvesting and they can do, you know, basic field work, they sadly can't do baling, loading, wagoning, that kind of stuff. They don't do that, which is a bit of a pity, a little bit of a shame. But we can, like I say, we can deal with it. We don't mind doing stuff by hand initially, start out with. Like I say, get this all loaded up, and then we can go and start our next task. Next task will probably be, now that I have got, once I've got the straw stripped off the top of the fields, I will then probably go and grab the spreader, and we will need to get some lime. We will. Now what I might decide to do, based on how much lime we probably will use, same with fertilizer and stuff like that, it may be, rather than using the pallet, you can put, you know, you can buy pallets perfectly happily from the store. That's not a problem. Most people probably do that, will buy pallets, and will either transport them to their farm on a trailer for use in their equipment, or we'll take the equipment to the store and reload it and refill it at the store. I know yesterday when I was playing, as I say, when I was doing my live stream, I was going to the store to pick things up and load vehicles, because the store, as you've already seen, is not a long way away from the farm. Right, we have picked up all the straw, so we can unload this. I can then take this back to the store and I can return it and just empty that. So we've finished with the we've finished with the loading wagon, so that can be returned. We won't need to use this again for a while. and then we'll pick up our next piece of kit. Like I say, we'll probably do the lime spreading next. We can do the lime spreading, get that done before we do the ploughing. Make sure the lime gets put into the soil and gets mixed in to the soil, ready for when we do our next seeding, planting. Like I say, we have got our seeder. That can go there. Oh, pump that. Right, this bradle, because I bought it and configured it with 14 with the extensions, we know we can hold 14,000 litres of lime, which just so happens to be 7 pallets worth of lime, which if we buy it in pallet form is available here in the store. It comes in pallets of 2,000 litres for 450 of your chosen in-game currency. So I'm going to have 7 pallets because I want 14,000 litres. That's going to cost me £3,150 because I chose to play in pounds rather than euros, despite this being the French map. And now we need to load this, so I'm going to open the cover. Now, unfortunately, although Giants have added the quality of life improvement to Farming Simulator 22 that you can buy pallets in bulk, as you've just seen, I was able to buy 7 pallets in one go. Unfortunately, you can't fill 7 pallets in one go. When you hit the fill button, it will empty 1 pallet and then it will stop. So you have to sit here and click the fill button 7 times. That's a bit of a shame. I was rather hoping Giants would have had a bulk fill option in the game. Again, it was a mod that was available for Farm Sim 19, which basically allowed you to automatically fill all the pallets that were in range of a piece of equipment. By just you press the fill button once, and it would basically fill the machine until the machine was full with whatever pallets were in an area near it. Not sure why Giants didn't decide to add that to this game. They added the bulk buy option, which again was a mod in Farming Simulator 19, which allowed you to buy multiple pallets in one go, as I have just done. So it seems like Giants have taken half of a mod for the game and implemented it, but not the other half of the mod, which was the filling component. But there we go. We filled up with lime from the store. Next time I need to fill up with lime, I'm probably going to buy a refill lime station and have at the farm, just because it will be more convenient and it will save me having to keep driving backwards and forwards to the store to fetch lime pallets. Especially because you tend to consume lime at a very high rate compared to fertilizer spreading. When you are using fertilizer in this machine, you tend to use very little of it in comparison to how quickly you get through the lime compared to how quickly you get through your lime empties faster than fertilizer, is what I'm saying, in a long-winded, rather strange fashion. You'll have to forgive me, folks. I'm a little bit tired, obviously. I've been doing a lot of work in the build up to Farming Simulator 19, Farming Simulator 22's release. Obviously the game launched for me on Sunday evening at 11 PM UK time, because obviously Germany, where Giants is based, is 1 hour ahead of us. The game launched at midnight on the 22nd of November, Monday morning basically. For me it was like, as I say, 1 minute, it was like 11 PM Sunday evening. So I obviously downloaded the game from Giants Sunday evening, Giants website, installed it, had a quick look at settings, was having a bit of a look at, just have a bit of a play around. Yesterday then, the actual official launch day of the game, that was when I came out and did my, that's when, well, I started the day by uninstalling the game that I had downloaded and installed via Giants website, and I instead chose to install the Steam version. I'm now playing the Steam version of the game, just because I like the fact that the Steam version automatically updates everything and downloads any updates that is needed. The Steam version also tracks how many hours you've played the game for, and obviously has your achievements and everything publicly displayed and linked. Plus it's very handy to get to the Steam forums to see what's going on in there, even though the Steam forums are very unofficial, and if you want to have probably sensible conversations with farm sim players, I would say you're better off maybe using the Giants forums, the actual official forums. Steam forums can be a little bit toxic. There can be a little bit of trolly behaviour from a lot of the people on Steam, but obviously with me being a Giants partner and a community member, I kind of have to have a look at what is going on in the community, what the community is saying, however misguided or misinformed it may be. So yeah, I installed the Steam version. I then live streamed for 8 hours yesterday. And then after I finished live streaming, I quickly recorded a video about how to unlock a load of extra settings here on PC, how to make the game look a lot prettier and a lot nicer, how to disable the intro video so your game starts up a lot faster, things like that, which sadly only works on the PC version, so apologies to the console players, that video unfortunately does not apply to you, sadly. I wish you could, but you don't have, unfortunately, you're not able to access any of those settings. So I did that video last night. I uploaded it to YouTube. YouTube was then being a pain in the bum because it wouldn't process the video into HD. I delayed the release a couple of times. I eventually released the video. I think the video went live at midnight, just after midnight. But unfortunately still wasn't in HD. So for the people that watched the video as soon as it went live, who instantly jumped on the YouTube notification, you would have had a hard time seeing reading some of the text in the video, especially in some of the windows that I was opening on the PC and in some of the files that I was opening and making changes to. As of this morning, when I woke up, the video was HD, so if you've watched the video and was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't in HD, you can go back now and watch it again. It is now fully processed. I don't know why YouTube is having it. YouTube seems to be having a bit of an issue at the moment with videos where it's taking way longer than it possibly should to process a video to HD. Obviously, I upload the videos in HD. I don't know why YouTube then mucks about re-encoding and reprocessing them, because they're already in HD when I upload them. If anything, what YouTube should do when I upload a video, the only thing they should process and do to a video is maybe do the different lower resolution versions. You know, leave the raw version, the original format, that's fine. Let people play and watch that. But if people need to watch it in a lower quality because they're on limited internet or they're on a mobile device or something, that's when YouTube should do the processing and to offer them the lower quality video. A bit like how Twitch does it. When you're live streaming on Twitch, for me as an affiliate, will always show my videos at the quality that I am recording or streaming in, which is 1080 for the most part is 1080p 60 frames per second. What Twitch then does when it has slots available on its preferred servers, if there is room and capacity allows, it allows you to ingest your stream onto the slightly higher premium servers, where you will then get the different quality options. So the people watching live can choose to watch the video in a lower quality than what you're streaming and broadcasting in, which is great for those people on slow internet or mobile devices, mobile phones, tablets, things like that. But the problem with that is, like I found yesterday when I was streaming, was that if the Twitch servers are oversubscribed and there is a lot of people streaming at the same time, especially if there's a lot of Twitch full-time partners streaming, you've got no way of getting access to those premium servers, which means you're stuck with the only option people can view the stream in is 1080p 60 frames per second. And then you get people going, oh, the stream's buffering, my internet's not fast enough. And I do apologise for that. Like I say, out of my hands. I could stream in lower quality, but then you're kind of doing a disservice. I feel I'm doing a disservice to people. And recently I've been talking about what happens when I eventually upgrade my PC monitor, and what the next step is for me, because my current monitor is 10 years old. And for those, again, people that have been following me for a while now, or certainly over the last few months, will know I'm having issues with the monitor. It's on its last legs. It's definitely on the road now to failure. One day I will come to turn the monitor on and it won't work. It will be completely dead. I have issues now where if I turn my PC off for an hour or 2 hours, an hour, if I was to shut my computer down at night like most normal people do, when I switch it back on in the morning, if I turn the monitor on and the monitor's been turned, if the monitor's been turned off as well as the computer, basically the monitor, when it turns on, can't display the image being sent out from my PC. It just has loads of different multicolored lines all over the screen. And literally, it takes the monitor a couple of hours to get warmed up. And then all of a sudden, ding, it will be working perfectly. It will show what my PC is showing. Obviously, this is a bit of an issue because you can't sit there for 2 or 3 hours waiting for the monitor to come to life. So basically, for the last couple of years, and I literally mean this as the last couple of years, I've got in the habit of I never shut my computer down. And I never turn the monitor off. It is on 24/7, because if the monitor gets turned off for any reason, it takes like a couple of hours for it to start working properly again after you've turned it back on. And that's not good. Obviously, that's not good for anybody. But I have been thinking that when I do buy my next monitor, my new monitor, I will obviously be upgrading technology. So my next monitor will be obviously moving into the realms of 4K. And that means I might start recording my videos in 4K. And then we'll see how YouTube likes that when it comes to processing. But it's a bit weird. Right, we have run out of lime, which, as I say, is not brilliant, not good. What we need to do now then is obviously refill this machine. I could drive all the way back to the store and buy some pallets and fill the machine up. I could buy some pallets, buy a trailer, put the pallets on the trailer and bring the trailer to the farm and unload it and all that. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to use a lime filling station. I think there's one in here. There's one. I just need somewhere to put it where it's not going to interfere too much. I'm going to put it right next to my existing silo, I think. There we go. We want some lime. Don't want a lot of lime. Because I don't want to have to unload this machine. Because I've got no way of storing the lime. Because again, we don't have the multi-fruit silos and stuff at present moment. So I'm going to do my lime spreading. Sorry about driving onto your field, fellow farmer, but it cannot be helped. Well, it could. I just chose not to. But yeah, we're going to get these fields limed. I won't return the spreader after we've limed because we will still need it for fertilizing. We'll still need it for fertilizing. After we have seeded. Again, I could do spraying. Weird, because typically what I would do, or the way farming simulators worked in the past, you've always needed to change the ground state between certain applications for things to be registered correctly. So, for example, if I plough these fields, throw the fertilizer on the field, we get one fertilizer state. If I then seed directly after using my seeder, which has fertilizer as well, the fertilizer from the seeder does not get recognized. So even after I finish seeding, my fields still only show as being one step fertilized instead of the full 2-step or 100%. So typically what you would need to do, if you've ploughed the field and then applied fertilizer, you would then need to do something else to the field, change the state again before you do your seeding. So typically that's when you would, after you've fertilized, you would then maybe cultivate the field, which would lock in your fertilizer. And then after you've cultivated, when you do your seeding, if you're using a machine that also applies fertilizer, you would get your second stage of fertilization applied. So I'm wondering how I'm going to do that, because I'm not planning on cultivating. After I've used the new Spader tool, I'm seriously thinking we're going to be straight seeding after that. The option I have available is that after I have done the spading and I've done my fertilizing, if I need to stone pick or rock collect, at that point, maybe that counts as changing the field state. So if I do my stone collecting after fertilizing, maybe that will trick the system so that when I apply my fertilizer, we basically get full fertilizer coverage. It means I won't have to spray the field with fertilizer or spread fertilizer whilst the crop is growing. Again, people have different thoughts, different feelings about that and about different things. I've just emptied this machine and I did not see a pallet appear. That's interesting. Right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to park that there. I will come back for that later. We now need to go and get the next tool. I know it looks a bit strange. I'm just using this one tractor, but literally this tractor I've leased with the sole purpose of being it's got enough power. It can do all the jobs that I need to do to get these fields done, re-prepped. The blue voucher I'm going to use for a different reason. That'll probably become my like trailer towing tractor. It's also the tractor I'll probably equip with a front loader, which we're going to need because when we do the stone picking, at some point we will need to empty the stone pickers, the stone picking machine, which means we'll end up with a big heap of the loose stones and rocks that we've got off the fields. So we'll need to pick them up. Okay, I can't. I can lift it. Good. I was a bit concerned for a minute there. I could not pick this machine up. I was like, oh, am I going to have to really drive all the way back to the farm at 6 miles an hour? At that point, you probably think to yourself, right, I'm going to need to get a little trailer to load this machine onto, to transport back to the farm, which is perfectly viable to do now in Farming Simulator 22. Now that on certainly low loaders and the tools that are designed for transporting equipment. So if you go into the store and you go down to things, we have in here somewhere low loaders. These machines are designed for basically transporting equipment, vehicles, machines. You can use them for transporting pallets and other things like that. What these are great for now in Farming Simulator 22 is that the objects you put on them do get strapped and held down. So if you put vehicles on these machines now, or you put equipment on these machines, they do get locked in place. So when you are driving around the map, you don't lose your equipment. It doesn't fall off when you go around a corner, which was a big problem in previous versions of Farming Simulator, because you could never strap down vehicles or equipment on the trailers, which kind of defeated the point of them. Right, switch the machine on. This is the first time I've ever used a spader or a spade in Farming Simulator 19. I assume it works a bit like a power harrow, but instead of cultivating, it is like ploughing, subsoiling. You can see it's bringing rocks to the surface. This is what I meant about, am I going to need to stone collect? And yes, it's quite evident that we are going to need to stone collect. What I could therefore do, whilst we've got this guy going, we could now actually hand over to an AI worker and hire a helper who will no doubt quite happily finish spading this machine. He's going to drive through the crop. You just have to unfortunately deal with that. But there he goes. He's working away. Right. So he's doing that. I can now do the next little bit of equipment juggling. So we are going to take this guy to the store. Again, doesn't have any beacons on this machine. We're going to customize this vehicle. We are going to equip him with basically a front loader. We might also lease the stone collector while we're here. Again, we probably have a workshop trigger at the farm, but I've not really explored much. Right, customize. I'm going to have narrows on this. That's going to cost me an extra $2,500. But narrow tyres are good because narrow tyres don't cause crop destruction. Right. Now the weight has been dropped off of there. That's handy. Because if I'm going to get myself a front loader, I probably want that one. We can't change the colour. I'm going to buy that outright. We're going to need a bucket then for obviously picking the rocks up and putting into a trailer. Unfortunately, when it comes to front loaders, not a whole lot of choice on the matter. I originally thought that was a bucket when I first looked at the game yesterday. It's not. It's a sugar beet chopper for chopping sugar beets. So yeah, the only bucket we've got for scooping materials off the ground is this one, which only has a 1,000 litre capacity. A little bit disappointing. When we go to stone collectors or rock collectors, stone pickers, that was the one I used in my stream yesterday because it's got a 5.5 metre working width. It's obviously very useful compared to 2.4 meters. However, the other machines do have a much bigger capacity, especially this one. Which has 3.8 cubic meters of space before it needs to be emptied. It does seem like if we want to get these fields done quickly, this is the way to go. 5.5 meters. You know what? We will go for leasing one of them. Now, we don't have a trailer at this point. Still, so I can't actually, when I do the rock collecting. Now, I probably shouldn't have brought the front weight with me. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Didn't stop to consider that, did we? Load that on first, maybe. A little guy changing gears, look. Now can I maybe reconnect my weight? I just want to transport it back to the farm. Because obviously... Ooh. Okay, that will do. And then we can take the rock picker with us. As soon as we get back to the farm, obviously I'll detach the front weight. Right, let's get this back to the farm. The spade should now be quite nicely ahead on the field. Which means when I come to do my rock collecting, shift my bucket up. Just out of curiosity, let's go and see. What is this for? Put the help window on quickly. That allows me to open wardrobe. Which lets me change my farmer's appearance. Okay. That allows me to sleep. At that trigger there. I don't know if we can actually go in the house, can we? Farm sim this year. Doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like the houses are enterable. A little bit of a shame, isn't it? They're using because you could enter the houses in FS19, but clearly they've decided this year not to allow us that optionality. Right, so we've now got to do rock collecting. No. No, we don't want to do rock collecting, do we? See, this is where my my brain got out of sync with the rest of me, because we're going to fertilise after we've done the we're going to fertilise, aren't we, after we've ploughed. Open the cover. And we want solid fertilizer this time. Need to zoom out, but it won't let me zoom out because I've got manual gears. By doing this, we're getting some fertilizer spread. We'll then do, obviously, rock picking. Looks like I may actually be able to overtake the tractor at this point in time. Sorry, Mr. Tractor, you're going to get a face full of fertilizer. Do this headland here. It looks like we can apply fertilizer straight over the top of lime. We'll check the map screen in a second just to make sure of that. If that's the case, we can run off and actually fertilise our 2 other fields whilst this fella's still driving up and down. Let's have a quick look. Soil composition. Okay, so it looks like ploughing is enabled. And we've got some fertilizer done. Okay. Right, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to get the fertilizing done on the other 2 fields. When we come back in the next episode, the spader probably will be finished. He'll be finished on this field. He'll then be working on one of the other fields over here. And basically, I'll be doing rock collecting then. And then once the rocks have been collected off the field, we can then get the seeder out and get our next crops sown. So thank you for watching today's episode, everybody. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back again very soon with the next one in the series. But for now from me, it's thank you and goodbye. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And share the video wherever you see fit. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And thank you for farming, everybody.